while we just... Okay, everybody. We're live. So we're it's a little bit emotional being here. We're outside the Capitol. We're in Oklahoma. The bus is full of names. But this is your chance to tell your story to everybody. And this is a story not just about you being affected, but your son as well. So let's start by telling everyone your name.
My name is Carol Parker.
Carol Parker. Okay, Carol, and you need to know that the people watching you now are your friends. And they're already on Periscope sending you hearts. So you need to know you're okay. So tell us what happened to you first. This happened, you saying, about a year ago.
Yes, exactly a year ago this month. I entered the hospital with a C. diff infection, which is an intestinal infection. It was caused by strong antibiotics and too many antibiotics for too long of a time.
And why were you given so many antibiotics?
I had a foot infection.
Infection?
Yeah, and they gave me clindamycin, which carries a high risk of C. diff. And I knew that, but I felt like I had to take it, so I did. But as soon as I developed symptoms of C. diff, I went to the emergency room for treatment. And they admitted me, and the nurse on duty asked me if I wanted the flu shot. Well, I had never been one to take flu shots. This was maybe my third flu shot in my life. But I felt like I needed it because I didn't want to take any chances on getting sicker or catching anything else. So I took the flu shot, and I developed Guillain-Barre syndrome from the flu shot. I became paralyzed from the waist down.
It's okay. Take your time, it's fine.
My hands became numb, and my arms were weak. I developed double vision, and I had trouble swallowing and speaking. But I was one of the lucky ones because it never affected my lungs. I was able to breathe. But, I couldn't sit up on my own. I couldn't roll over in bed, change positions. They were always keeping my feet propped up on pillows, and if my foot fell off the pillow or off the bed, I couldn't raise my leg back up to put it on the bed. I didn't even know where my feet were unless I could see them. And
did anybody acknowledge the fact that this was an injury from the vaccine?
Well, at first, they kept trying to say it wasn't Guillain-Barre. They didn't want to say that's what it was. I knew that's what it was because I had read about it before, and we had a family member who had it. And so I knew that's what it was. And it took about 2 weeks before they admitted it was Guillain-Barre. And one of the first things the doctor said is that the flu shot can cause this sometimes. And then he immediately said, but it didn't in your case. They had no explanation for it, of what caused it. And
so were you still in hospital?
Yes,
yeah.
I was still in the hospital with the C. diff. So I had both C. diff and Guillain-Barre syndrome at the same time. And after...
And who was looking after your son? Because your son has autism,
Yes, my brother.
So you had someone looking after your son?
Yes.
But still petrified.
It was very hard on my son because he's in his late 30s. He's used to me taking care of him. And although he is accustomed to other caregivers for short periods of time, it was still difficult for him And he kept wanting to know when I was going to come home, and none of us could tell him. No one knew how long I'd be in the hospital. I ended up being in the hospital a total of 2 months. I had to go into rehab. Once they made the diagnosis, they gave me IVIG treatment, which is intravenous immunoglobulin. It's a blood product. And that stopped the progression. And so then they made plans to put me in rehab to learn. I had to learn to sit up, stand, and walk again.
So none of these conditions, you've just walked out of a wheelchair now, none of these conditions you had before?
No, I had.
For the flu vaccine?
I did not have any of the problems I have now before. Before this, I did use a cane occasionally because of arthritis and also a bad back. But now I have neuropathy in both feet because of the Guillain-Barre. I have no reflexes in my feet or my left leg, and I still have some double vision in my left eye, so I have to wear a prism on my glasses. The double vision has improved. Initially, I had a prism of 15, which is the strongest prism they make. And over the past year, I've improved to, now I just have a 4 is the strength. So the lower the number, the weaker the strength of the prism. So, but I still, have double vision. I was hoping it would go away, resolve completely, but it hasn't yet.
Have you reported this to the VAS system?
I haven't yet. I contacted an attorney about it and was going to use this one particular attorney, but
okay, I'm going to put you in contact with someone who's going to help you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, YouTube, I just have to say, not YouTube, Facebook. We are being heavily censored on Facebook today. Periscope seems to be doing well, as does YouTube. So you may want to jump over to YouTube or Periscope to get this broadcast, because we are being interrupted every couple of seconds here on Facebook today. So you trusted the system. You trusted the doctors, the nurses. You trusted for this flu vaccine, and now it has wrecked your life. What is your advice? What is your advice to all those great many that are walking into CVS or whatever they're called, these pharmacies, and it's got get your free flu shot here and get a free bonus card or whatever it is they're doing? What is your advice to these people who just do not know?
I would advise them not to get the flu shot. It's the risk outweigh the benefit. And I'm not sure there is a benefit, because I'm nearly 60 years old, and for most of my life I've never gotten flu shots and never had the flu. And like I said, this was only the second or third time I ever got the flu shot, and I only did it because I had been in the hospital twice and thought that taking it might help prevent me from getting anything else, and instead it had the opposite effect.
Now tell me about your son. He has autism, and he's 30...
He's 38.
38, and he lives with you at home.
Mm-hmm.
And how's he doing? What's his life like?
Well, I'm trying to help him become as independent as possible, but he will always need some assistance and supervision.
And do you think vaccines played a part in his development or not?
I believe it could have, because years down the road, well, he was diagnosed when he was almost 4, but his development was not on schedule, even from day one, really. And he was vaccinated in the hospital as a newborn, and he got his boosters and everything that he was supposed to get as a toddler, but his development was never on target. He didn't speak till he was 4, and then the first time he spoke, he was reading a book out loud, because he has hyperlexia as well as autism. And I documented things when he was a baby and put his baby book away and didn't think about it or look at it anymore. And when he was in his teens or 20s, I came across the baby book and was reading it, and was shocked to realize that I had documented his reaction to the MMR vaccine, that he had a high fever, he wasn't eating, he had diarrhea. I documented all these symptoms, and also the fact that when I contacted his pediatrician, she told me, oh, that's a normal reaction for some children. And so, yes, I think the MMR vaccine did play a role in his autism.
And what does he like to do at 30 odd years? What's his thing?
He loves music, and he spends most of his free time listening to music and playing piano.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Does he speak?
Yes, he is verbal, but it took many years for him to get there, because even when he started developing speech as a youngster, it sounded it was more like he would take rote phrases that he had heard spoken to him, and he would apply them to the situation to communicate his needs, but it still didn't feel like spontaneous speech.
Does he work or get out the house, or is he housebound?
He doesn't work. I have him involved in the community as much as possible, and I take him places and we do fun things, but there are limits to that, because he has sensory issues that are primarily auditory. He has very hyperacute hearing and very sensitive to people's voices, and more so than noises. But anything that startles him is he can have a fight or flight response. So that's,
and also with your injuries, it's more difficult to get out. What about his future when you're not around?
Well, that's always been a constant worry. And back in the late 90s, I found out that our state has a waiver program, and that gave me some peace of mind to think that there was a program in place, and that that our state is trying to be person-centered and community-focused rather than putting them in institutions. Our state has closed their state-run institutions, but the funding in our state is in such poor condition that I don't know that I can rely on that program to take care of him for his lifespan, and I don't know what the future holds for him.
Do you have support? You do? You have people that help you?
Yeah, my brother is my biggest help.
You're an amazing person. We're so sorry that this has happened to you. Do you know the people out here, or are you new to these people? You don't know them? Okay, they're wonderful people. I'm going to introduce you to them, okay? I'm going to make sure you get some help. You see, peeps, this is it. This is its one flu shot. She has an older son with autism and needs, and one flu shot has made it really difficult for you to get around. So, you know, it's hard for you to get on the bus. Got to wake up to the truth of vaccines. We just have to, and you're going to get a load of support. Now, these people are sending you so much love. You want to see some hearts? Look. Don't think you know about our Periscope. I'm going to show you Periscope. Do you see those hearts there? They're coming in for you now. And people are just saying they love you. Okay? They're all from people from all over the world watching you live now. So you're never alone. Okay. I've got a pretty big. There's more. They're more coming in. Thanks, peeps. We have to look after each other. We have to look after our neighbours. We have to show love. And you're someone that needs a lot of love right now. And you've got it here from We Are Vaxxed, sending you so much love as well. Okay, so we're going to get you some help. We're going to come off Periscope. We Are Vaxxed. We're going to come off. We're going to spend a few minutes with the people outside so that you get to know them. We'll get you some support for you and your son. Okay? Oh, that just breaks our
Thank you.
heart. No thanks needed. These people love you. You've got to watch this back. They've sent you so much love.